I don't feel I owe people anything. If anything, I'm owed answers and to have my children back to me.
At 2:25 p.m. on May 1st, 2025, a surveillance camera inside a Dollarama store recorded 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack with members of their family. At 10:01 the next morning, their mother called 911 to report them missing from their home on Gairloch Road in Lansdowne, Nova Scotia. Those are two of the clearest points in the public timeline. What happened between them has never been established through a complete sequence of independent evidence. 15 months later, Lilly and Jack have not been found. There has been no confirmed sighting after the morning they disappeared, no arrest connected to the case, and no public evidence proving whether they wandered away, suffered an accident, or were taken by another person. The investigation is still active. It is also much larger than it was when this case was last examined. New court records have revealed more about the people and evidence police investigated, and Lilly and Jack's mother has now given her first detailed public interview in months. But none of it has answered the central question: how did 2 young children disappear from a rural property without leaving behind a confirmed route? Before looking at the evidence, one distinction is important. Search warrant applications contain allegations, witness accounts, and preliminary police assessments. They explain why investigators requested access to records or devices. They are not findings of guilt, and many details remain redacted. Lilly and Jack lived with their mother, Malahia Brooks Murray, their stepfather, Daniel Martell, and the couple's infant daughter. Martell's mother, Janie Mackenzie, lived in a separate trailer on the same rural property. The children attended school on April 28th and 29. There was no school on April 30th, and they were kept home because of illness on May 1st and May 2nd. On May 1st, the family went into town. The Dollarama recording from 2:25 that afternoon became the last publicly confirmed independent image of Lilly and Jack away from their home. The next morning at 6:15, Brooks Murray marked both children absent from school. According to statements summarized in court documents, the adults later said the children were awake inside the house. Lilly reportedly entered the bedroom where her mother and stepfather were resting with the baby, while Jack could be heard elsewhere in the home. In an interview published in August 2026, Brooks Murray gave a similar account. She said Lilly briefly came into the bedroom, then she heard Lilly and Jack playing together in another room before falling asleep again. When she later woke, the house was quiet. Mackenzie told investigators that she heard the children laughing and playing on the swings outside shortly before 9 a.m. That account may be accurate, but it is still a recollection rather than a recording. No publicly released camera footage shows the children in the yard or leaving the property that morning. The adults began looking for them, and Brooks Murray called 911 at 10:01. Officers arrived at approximately 10:27. The disappearance has often been described as happening within about 40 minutes. That description sounds precise, but the underlying timeline is not. The public record places the children's reported activity within a broader period during the morning, and the exact moment they left the house remains unknown. That uncertainty matters. A difference of 30 minutes could change which passing vehicles, cameras, witnesses, and search areas were relevant. The 911 call confirms when the emergency was reported. It does not independently confirm when Lilly and Jack disappeared. The property was surrounded by dense forest, streams, uneven ground, and lightly traveled roads. Police initially worked from the report that the children had wandered away. Their outdoor boots were missing, and their mother told investigators that both children were possibly autistic and known to roam. A major ground, air, and water search began immediately. 24 ground search and rescue teams took part, supported by helicopters, drones, police dogs, divers, and other specialized resources. The initial operation was scaled back on May 7th, after police said the likelihood of finding the children alive in the woods had become very low. More targeted searches followed. By April 30th, 2026, the RCMP said investigators had formally interviewed 106 people, reviewed all 8,132 functioning video files collected for the case, assessed 1,191 tips, and worked through 1,534 investigative tasks. Human remains detection dogs had searched approximately 40 kilometers around the Lansdowne area. Electronic devices, phone records, banking information, and other material belonging to people close to the children were also examined under judicial authorization. Those numbers show the scale of the investigation. They do not show which explanation is most likely. Police continue to say that all scenarios remain under consideration. One of the most discussed objects in the case is a piece of Lilly's pink blanket. At about 4 p.m. on May 2nd, 3 family members found part of the blanket caught in a tree near Lansdowne Station Road, roughly 1 kilometer from the home. Brooks Murray and Martell identified it from a photograph. Police seized it, but a dog brought to the location did not detect a scent belonging to either child. 2 days later, police recovered another part of the same blanket from a garbage bag near the end of the family's driveway. Taken alone, those 2 locations can sound deeply suspicious. The court documents, however, provide important context that is often left out. Brooks Murray told police that the blanket had been used to block a draft around a door. According to her statement, Martell had torn off part of it while putting it in place. She said she removed the remaining material and threw it away about a week before the children disappeared, because the weather had improved. That account does not establish how the first piece reached the tree. It does mean the blanket cannot automatically be treated as proof that Lilly carried it away from the house on May 2nd. It may be connected to the disappearance, or it may be a discarded household item whose location has another explanation. No forensic result released to the public has shown that the blanket traces the children's movements. Police administered at least 6 polygraph examinations during the investigation. Brooks Murray and Martell were tested on May 12, 2025. The initial police interpretation was that both answered the relevant questions truthfully. The children's biological father, Cody Sullivan, also produced responses interpreted as truthful. Mackenzie's physiological responses could not be analyzed, so no conclusion was reached in her examination. Another round of polygraph testing took place in February 2026, but police did not identify the people tested or release the results. Polygraphs are investigative tools, not proof. They measure physical responses, and the publicly released records do not disclose every question. Passing one does not establish innocence, just as an inconclusive test does not establish guilt. The court records also describe a delayed witness account. A woman told police that on the morning of May 2nd, she had seen a young girl and a smaller boy near the railway tracks, with an older woman standing beside a tan or gold-colored car. A rear passenger door was reportedly open. If the children were Lilly and Jack, the sighting could change the entire case. But the woman came forward weeks later, after photographs and details of the disappearance had received widespread attention. Police have never publicly confirmed that the children she saw were Lilly and Jack, nor have they connected the woman or the vehicle to the disappearance. It remains a lead, not a verified sighting. Later court filings gave the public a closer look at the family situation investigators were examining. In a police interview, Brooks Murray alleged that Martell had sometimes blocked her, held her down, pushed her, or taken her phone during arguments. Martell denied physical violence and said the couple argued mainly about money. RCMP Staff Sergeant Rob McCammon later confirmed that investigators were considering the nature of their relationship at the time the children disappeared. In January 2026, Martell was charged with assault, sexual assault, and unlawful confinement, involving an adult complainant. Police have explicitly said those charges are unrelated to Lilly and Jack's disappearance, and the allegations have not been proven in court. That distinction cannot be ignored. Evidence from an unrelated case cannot be used to fill the gaps in this one. No member of the family has been publicly identified as a suspect in the disappearance. The records show that police examined those closest to the children and sought access to private digital and financial information. What they do not reveal is any result that establishes a crime. The investigation remains under Nova Scotia's Missing Persons Act. Police have said they do not currently have reasonable grounds to conclude that a criminal offense occurred. That is not the same as proving that no crime occurred. Court submissions acknowledge that the investigation could become criminal if new evidence identifies an offense or a person of interest. The first possibility is that Lilly and Jack left the property on their own. Their boots were reportedly gone. The adults believed they were capable of roaming, and the surrounding terrain could conceal small children. Search teams do not find every trace, especially in thick vegetation, moving water, poor weather, and uneven ground. But no continuous trail leading away from the house has been publicly established. Searches of nearby ponds and Lansdowne Lake found nothing, and later deployments of human remains detection dogs did not produce a reported discovery. Wandering remains possible, but the searches have not shown where the children went. The second possibility is an accidental death in the woods or water. That could explain why there was no later contact, but it still requires Lilly and Jack to reach a location that repeated searches failed to identify. No confirmed water entry point, item of clothing, or location linked to both children has been announced. The third possibility is human involvement. A vehicle could remove two children quickly and account for the absence of a trail. Yet police have released no image of the children entering a vehicle, no verified later sighting, and no publicly identified driver or suspect. Investigators checked the biological father's home after Brooks Murray raised the possibility that he had taken them to New Brunswick, but police found no evidence placing him near Lansdowne that morning. None of these possibilities fits the known evidence cleanly. That does not make them equally likely. It means the public does not have enough verified information to rank them with confidence. There is also a simpler problem beneath all three. The morning timeline may be incomplete. Memories formed during a frightening emergency are not precise timestamps. A sound can be placed at the wrong moment. An adult may misjudge how long the house was quiet. That does not require anyone to be lying, but it can change the starting point of an entire search. In August 2026, 15 months after the disappearance, Brooks Murray spoke publicly in depth about the case. She said she had nothing to do with her children's disappearance, did not believe police considered her a suspect, and had remained largely silent because she did not want to interfere with the investigation. She and Martel are no longer together. Brooks Murray said she repeatedly asks investigators whether they are pursuing new avenues, but feels she receives the same answer, that they are still working on the case. She continues to believe Lilly and Jack may return, and has taken part in public efforts to keep their names visible. Her interview provides a clearer account of her experience. It does not resolve the timeline or establish what happened. Since the RCMP's detailed anniversary update in April, authorities have not announced a breakthrough. Nova Scotia continues to offer a reward of up to 150,000 Canadian dollars for information of investigative value that helps locate Lilly and Jack.
People who are close and know me know that I would never do anything to my children and that I love them very much.
Thank you for doing this. Malaya, it's been more than 15 months since you've seen Jack and Lilly. How are you doing?
Not good.
How do you spend your days?
Just one day at a time, surrounded by family and friends and support systems, going to therapy regularly. I do a lot of art and I see my daughter. We always plan everything that we can to keep my mind busy.
And I know we've heard others talk about Jack and Lilly and they've described them, but you spent the most time with them. What can you tell me about Jack and Lilly?
Lilly is a very bubbly little girl who always smiles and loves to pose for photos. She loves unicorns and LOL dolls and to dress up girly. She loves dresses. Just like me when I was younger, I was always wearing dresses. She always loved to pick out her outfits, and I would bring her some and she would pick them out. Jack loves bugs. He loves playing outside, digging for things. Anytime he got a new dinosaur, he was always excited and loves those dino smashers. Those were his favorite. They were both always so happy.
And how were they with each other?
They loved each other. They hugged each other. They would say sorry to each other. Sometimes they would get in fights with each other, but they would always make up.
What do you miss the most about them?
Everything. Their laughter, their smile, their hugs, their smell. I think it's just when you're a mom, your children have a particular scent that you never forget. And it's just something that you know, especially when they're born and you're holding them in your arms. And it always stays with you.
And how were they with you? I've heard they were both very close with you in particular.
They were both mama's kids. They love their mom.
And you've been holding on to their things. You brought some with you today.
Yeah.
And you've still been buying things for them.
Yeah, I bought them Easter baskets and Valentine's Day stuff, their Christmas stuff, birthday stuff, unopened cards for them to open when they get home. I have everything. And I continue to get more because it's what helps me cope.
You're holding on to it so that you can have it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For when they come home.
So if we can we go back to May of last year, May 2nd? What's the last memory you have of seeing or hearing Jack and Lilly?
Hearing their laughter of them playing together in the bedroom, and seeing Lily's face pop in the bedroom.
You laid eyes on Lilly that morning?
Yeah.
And you heard Jack?
Yeah.
So when did you see Lilly? Do you recall?
Can't recall the exact time.
Sometime after they woke up that morning?
Yeah.
And then what was the next thing that you remember of that morning?
Just waking up, seeing Daniel next to me, and I didn't hear them. And I woke Daniel up and said, I don't hear the kids. So we both went out, and then that's when we started looking for them. And that's how it all unfolded from there.
You called 911, and then chaos ensued, basically.
Yeah.
Do you remember those hours?
The trauma is so severe to the point where, like, I block it out because it's hard to sit with it and sit with reality, and with no answers. I just don't know how it even happened, or they should have been found that day, and an Amber Alert should have went out, and it should have never happened.
In hindsight, what do you think went wrong? You mentioned the Amber Alert.
Well, I asked the police for an Amber Alert, and they kept telling me one's going to be issued, and I'd go back another few minutes and they would keep telling me the same thing, and I just kept asking, and all they sent out was that alert. And I don't feel like that was enough.
The vulnerable persons alert, which went to 2 counties, basically. Do you think that they're in the woods?
I don't know. I just want the police to give me answers on where they're at and bring them home.
How do you feel the RCMP investigation has been going?
It feels like I continue to get the same update over and over, and I keep asking for new avenues, and they keep saying we're working on it, and I just don't feel like that's enough. I feel like I deserve more than that, and I deserve answers on where they're at, and I need them home.
In terms of the evidence, we know that searchers found a cluster of boot prints, one child-sized boot print on the trail, believed to be the size of Lily's shoe. What do you make of that? And the fact that there was another footprint found in a recent search?
I don't know, because I don't think I could speak on that.
Yeah, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
No, it doesn't.
And the same with the pink blanket. Do you want to talk about the pink blanket?
I don't even know how it even got there.
That was Lily's blanket that had been old and ripped apart?
Yeah.
And had been presumably in the garbage can, but made it onto a tree a kilometer away.
None of it makes sense, and I just demand answers.
What's your relationship like with RCMP?
At first, it was, I had to explain a lot, and, which I obviously didn't mind. I gave them everything that I knew and that I had, and that, but it seems like the relationship is kind of dwindling off because they're just not explaining enough. And I understand that they are busy and they have many other cases, but also I just feel like more should be happening.
I know at points you were questioned heavily by police and even given polygraph tests. Did you feel you were interrogated?
No. Not at all.
Did you ever feel RCMP were suspicious of you?
I would assume at first because they didn't know the answers. But the RCMP know now.
You've been polygraphed how many times? Twice?
Twice.
What was that experience like?
It was nerve-wracking, mostly because of the question I was asked. The second one wasn't as bad because I had already been through one, but I understood why they had to be done, and I just got through it, and because I knew the truth.
What was the question?
The first one was if I it's too heartbreaking to say.
What was your answer?
No.
Did police ask if you had anything to do with the disappearance?
No. But I kept asking that question myself to them, and they would just reply, "That's a good question," but also I didn't know why they wouldn't polygraph me for that as well. But I already told them if any more polygraphs are going to be done, that I'm more than willing to go in and do them.
You wanted them to ask you that question? Can I ask you that question? Did you have anything to do with the disappearance of Jack and Lilly?
No.
What do you think happened to them?
The only thing I can assume is someone took them. But for what reason, I don't know.
And it would have been from your home. Definitely that morning.
But I just want them back home.
RCMP have publicly said they have no reasonable grounds to believe this was criminal. Do you think this was criminal?
I honestly don't know. I'm just waiting for the police to give me all the facts.
You think they're withholding from you?
I feel like they have to protect the case, and I understand that. And even though it's hard and extremely frustrating, I just have to do what they say and pray every day that they bring them home.
As you know, there's been a lot of accusations flung your way from Daniel Martel, your former partner, and his family, that possibly you or your family were involved in some way. What do you say to that?
I honestly don't know what to say, because we both know we were in the same bed that morning. So I don't understand why they would make up stories.
After that first weekend when Jack and Lilly went missing, May 3rd, the Saturday, the day following the day that they were reported missing, that was the last day you were there in Lansdowne. There's been widespread skepticism, Malaya, about why you chose to leave the scene that day. What would you like to say about that decision?
The police had said that we should go, and told my family privately to take me out of there. And I was in too much state of shock that I just wanted to be with my family and my daughter. So we got out of there, and the police met us back at Mom's.
And they were updating you there.
Yeah, and I had to do a very lengthy interview with them.
Why didn't you go back?
I don't think I can touch on that right now.
Is there anything you can say about what life was like before May 2nd in the home with Jack and Lilly and Daniel?
I don't think I can talk about it right now. I'm sorry.
So all of these months later, I know there's been also a lot of questions about why you stayed so quiet, and that usually a mother of missing children would be speaking out, and even on a megaphone. Why hasn't that been the case for you?
Because the police had told me not to, that it would jeopardize the case, and I just did whatever they told me to do because I didn't want to jeopardize the case in any way. And I also wasn't ready because I'm continuing to go through extreme trauma, and even this is extremely hard for me.
And there has been intense scrutiny on you and your family in the last few months.
I don't feel I owe people anything. If anything, I'm owed answers, and to have my children back to me. And I believe the police know what they're doing, and that they're doing everything to find Lilly and Jack and bring them back home to me.
You still trust in the process?
That's all I have.
So why now? Why speak out now?
I just feel I need to continue keeping their faces out there, that they're out there somewhere, and if they see me on TV, they'll recognize me, and maybe somehow they'll be brought back home.
When you think of them today, where do you envision they are? Or do you?
That they're being well looked after and they're together. That's all a mother could hope.
What keeps you up at night?
Just not being able to tuck them in at night and give them a hug and kiss and read them a story. And sleep beside them. I miss them a lot. I look at their pictures on my fridge and all over my walls, and I break down in tears because I miss them so much, and they need to come home.
On Canada Day, you recently walked in a parade and there was a float for Jack and Lilly, and you had some of their items that you made for them, keychains with their pictures on them, handing them out to the crowd. What was that like for you?
It was very emotional, and I just kept walking forward and kept my head straight because I was doing it for them, to bring awareness to them, to keep their faces out there and bring them back home. It was a very large crowd, and that's not something I would normally do, but I did it for them.
That was a big step after remaining, quiet and not in the public for a long time. What was the reception like from the crowd?
I'm at the point now where I can't worry about what people think of me, because people who are close and know me know that I would never do anything to my children and that I love them very much.
And I understand you've also been taking part in other searches for other missing people, one just recently as well, here in Nova Scotia. Why do you do that?
Because I feel very helpless right now without having answers or knowing what's the next step to do. And so helping others is basically all I feel I can do.
And I know that you've said you do your best to drown out the noise and not pay attention to it, but we know there's been a lot of public skepticism and criticism. What's that been like for you to deal with on top of everything else?
I don't like the negative attention and the made-up stories that are taking from the case, because no one has answers. So it seems like they're making up answers for clicks and views, which is so disheartening because these are my babies and these people are taking away from the case and causing distractions. And I don't know whether it's purposely or unintentionally, but it's not okay. These are my babies and they need to come home.
And how are you doing now compared to even a year ago?
The trauma is still the same. I can't sleep without my medication, so it's extremely hard.
Your life completely changed that day.
Yeah. No parent should ever have to go through what I'm going through, and I would never wish it upon anyone. It's unbearable, and I don't think I'd be able to get through it without the support that I have in my family.
Tell me what they've been doing for you. Really, how they've come through for you.
We help each other, and we always stand by each other no matter what, and keep each other busy.
When you say that you wouldn't wish this upon anyone, and we know that I've read the comments myself online, mothers who are judging you as a mother, what do you say to those people?
Hug your children tight, because this could happen to anyone, and you just can't point fingers. I feel they don't understand the situation entirely, so they just go off what's being put out there. And I guess they could say all the cruel things that they want. At the end of the day, I know that I'm a good mom and I love my children very, very much. And I'd give anything to just hold them right now.
Malaya, what would you like the public to know? If there was anything you could say.
I want them to continue keeping my children's faces out there, keep reposting, just help scream their names to help bring them home. That I believe that they're out there somewhere and they will be returned home. I have dreams about them coming home, and I believe it.
15 months have passed, and there is still no ending to this story. Police have not found Lilly or Jack, and nothing released so far suggests that an answer is close. In her recent interview, Brooks Murray said she still sleeps with the children's favorite stuffed animals, Lily's white unicorn and Jack's green and blue brachiosaurus. It is a small detail, but it says more about the passage of time than another list of searches and statistics. The investigation may eventually turn on something already collected or on information that has never reached police. No one can know which. What can be said is that Lilly and Jack were 4 and 6 when they disappeared, and more than a year of their childhood has now passed without them. Their case remains open. Anyone with genuine information should report it directly to the RCMP or Nova Scotia Crime Stoppers. Thank you for watching.